All right, guys, this is part 2 of our scientific notation video series. The first part focused on scientific notation with powers of 10, which were positive. This one is going to focus on powers of 10, which are negative. So if we notice here, in this particular slide, scientific notation with negative powers of 10, how can you use scientific notation to express very small quantities? Okay, so if we look at this first example here, it shows us that writing a number in scientific notation, to write a number that is less than 1 in scientific notation, we're going to move the decimal point right and use a negative exponent. So when we are trying to describe numbers that are so small, and again, scientific notation is going to be dealing with basically, as the title says, the sciences. If you are, say, a microbiologist or someone who works with very small quantities of minerals or some sort of chemical, you're going to need to describe that number in a way that is more succinct and that has meaning to others outside of the country, mainly in international scientific communities. At any rate, when a number is between 0 and 1, you're going to use a negative exponent as opposed to yesterday when we were using a positive exponent to express very large quantities. You're going to move the decimal point 2 places to the right, as in this particular case. So when we move for the number 0.0783, it's going to be moved 2 places to the right. You're going to follow the exact same format of creating that coefficient that we talked about in the last video, where the coefficient is a number, as in this case right here, a number that is between 1 and 10. So in order to create that coefficient again, my number will have to be, in this particular instance, 7.83, because again, that number is greater than or equal to 1, but less than 10. So let's go ahead and get into some examples. The examples that we're going to look at are listed here. Okay, so first of all, I want to create a number that is in scientific notation. Then I'm going to take a number that is already in scientific notation and go ahead and move it back to standard notation. Now remember, your standard notation is going to be those numbers which are regular numbers that we're used to seeing. Okay, so first things first, let us go ahead and create our coefficient. I want to move this decimal place over. Using the power of the decimal, I'm going to move that over and create my coefficient. I want that coefficient to be greater than or equal to 1, but less than 10, as I mentioned. So I'm going to move this over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. My new coefficient becomes 5.9. Again, that number is greater than 1, greater than or equal to 1, but less than 10. Now, how many skips did I actually make? Okay, I made 5 skips of the decimal point. Going forward, I'm going to say that is the DP, okay? And then part C, I'm going to put both of these together. Now remember, when I move, as in the last video, when I move that place 5 places, that's going to determine my exponent for my power of 10. Now, because of the fact that my original number was less than 1 but greater than 0, then that's when it becomes a negative power. Okay, negative power of 10. So I'm going to put them together using my coefficient first, multiplying that by my power of 10, that is negative 5. Okay, so in this particular case, my power of 10, that is to the negative 5 power, that is going to be a super small number. Okay, this would be 0.0001. Okay, because if I were to move that decimal over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places, I'm going to confirm. Okay, that would be this number. Basically, this is what this would equate to. Multiplied by 5.9 is going to give me that number. Okay, now that's how you do your check. So let's move on. I'm going to again create a coefficient. I'm looking at this particular number. I'm going to move my decimal place over enough times to create a coefficient that is greater than or equal to 1, but less than 10. So that's 1, 2. I only have to move over 2 places. So when I move over 2 places, my coefficient becomes 4.17. Again, 1, 2. Okay, and these numbers are significant, so I need to go ahead and put these over. I had 2 skips of the DP, okay, as I said earlier, that I'm going to be using. Remember, my original number is between 0 and 1, so I know I have a negative power of 10. Okay, and in this case, it's going to be 10 to the negative 2, okay? Putting these things together, again, I'm going to use my coefficient, 4.17, multiplied by 4.17 times 10 to the negative 2, okay? All right, next. Now, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and use a number that's already in scientific notation and convert it back to a number that is in standard form, okay? So, first of all, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and write my coefficient. Because I know that this number is going to be a number that is less than 1, I'm going to need all of this space over here because my decimal is going to fall somewhere in this area. So it's going to be a small number because I'm moving back to the left 5 places. And how do I know that it's 5 places? Because of this exponent, okay? So next, I know that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to count again because my paper sort of skipped a little bit. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know that my new decimal place is going to be there. I'm going to put a 0 placeholder there. Fill in all of my extra zeros. Now, what I like to tell my students is I want for you to rewrite that just in case it's a little jumbled up like this. We don't want to have a mistake made simply because we were unwilling to take an extra 2 seconds to go ahead and write down the information one more time. So that's 0.1234. I'm counting my zeros, 906. So this number becomes that, okay? So I could always confirm again simply by recounting. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was trying to make my coefficient again. I know that again, that coefficient would be 9.06. I moved 5 places over, so 10 to the negative 5. So I did my check. Next, I'm going to look at this number. I'm going to write down my coefficient. Remember, I like to write it down sort of a little bit over because I know that the number is going to be fairly small. This is only 2 skips, so it's not going to be super small, but still I want to move over. That's 1 skip, 2 skips. My new decimal place is there. Put in my placeholder, fill in my gaps, and give myself an opportunity to get the number right by rewriting it again. That's 0.297, okay? And that is that. So again, if you wanted to watch this video over again, you're more than welcome to do that. If you watch the video over again, it's going to help you solidify these concepts in your mind for yourself. If you wanted to go to the book, okay, our book, the TEK is going to be 8.2C. 8.2C, you go to the table of contents, search that out, okay, and then go ahead and click on that. It'll take you straight to that page. As always, if there is any thing that you need to redo or look at again, please do so. If you have any questions, of course, you can always ask me in class as usual, or stop by my tutorials on Tuesday or Thursday. And as always, I'll see you in class tomorrow.